think he always felt, beginning of the process, that he needed 17 disabilities, you know, and a wig and a suit that made people think this about him, and a sling for his arm, and a this and a that. And so for me, it was about trusting that what he was doing with his body and what he was doing with his sheer charisma, you know, was enough.
So how did you and the director approach getting the right content for this film, and did you have any idea of what you wanted to convey?
I suppose I just come from the school of thought that documentaries are of such a nature that you don't really know what you have until you shoot it, until you get it on film. So I think I said to Jeremy, just, you know, get as much on film as you possibly can. And hopefully not too many actors will tell you to go away and get the camera out of their face. And we were quite fortunate that he sort of ingratiated himself and became sort of a member of the company almost.
What would it be like if you were born that way? If you had heard everyone call you every name in the book? If you had in your blood ambition and royalty, how long would it take you to overcome those disabilities that people made fun of? How long would it take you to turn those into strengths and not weaknesses?
And blockbuster-scale theatre shows are breathing new life into the genre. Do you think large-scale and filmed theatre shows will be the future?
I think we're getting closer and closer to capturing theatre in ways that will be very exciting for audiences who can't get to New York or to London to be able to experience it. Although I have to say, as much as I'm excited about the idea that we'll be able to capture some theatre on film, I want people to experience theatre in the theatre. I actually want them to come to a theater and buy a ticket and sit in a seat. But in the meantime, it's a very exciting that we can give theater to more and more people and maybe plant those seeds.
And you played Richard III in so many iconic theatres across the world. How did the production have to vary for those different theatres? Well,
every theater is different. Every theater is designed differently. Some theaters are brilliant in terms of the acoustics, and some theaters are not so good. So you're constantly having to adjust your performance and learn about how to play in a particular theater. We always had a new backstage crew in every theater we went to, and very often in places where English was not the first language. And that's a challenge, but they were all met that challenge brilliantly. And I suppose it was interesting just as well to be able to see how different audiences in different countries were responding to this play and the way in which Sam Mendes directed it. It was, for us, it was kind of like amazing. It was so fresh because every couple of days we were in a new place. You know.
And on the subject of Sam Mendes, it was the first time you'd worked together since one of my favourite films, American Beauty. Why did you decide to join forces now?
The first phone call I made was to Sam Mendes to tell him that I was going to start a new company at the Old Vic. Sam's idea of bringing American and British actors together to do classic work was born, and so it was a long gestating conversation that finally led to Sam leading this company for 3 seasons and directing 5 productions. That was just, you know, Richard III was the final of those 5 productions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.